Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas. Coming up next, we have our final match of the day with Monsanto versus Nalguidan, a match between seeds number 7 and 8 in Division A, where neither player are able to advance the playoffs and instead have to fight for their last chance to stay in Grandmasters.
Right. We're down to it where one of these players, unfortunately, is going to be dropping out of Grandmasters here, which is a little bit rough. Obviously, a little bit bittersweet. See who it is? Monsanto bring in the Warrior Rogue Quest for Outlook. The Warrior gets through.
This is
a bit shocking.
It's a strategy that we've seen Nalguidan and PNC play a lot, which is bold, to say the least, because many people consider Warrior to be on permaban status, so disagreeing with that is, a risky strategy, to say the least. And I like to see it. You don't want to just see people unanimously agree that this is the best way to play, because, well, frankly, that makes it less fun when other people are disagreeing and whatnot, especially when it comes to pro player opinion.
Yeah, I suppose there is that. It's going to be Tempo Demon Hunter, Quest Warlock, and Spell Druid for Nalguidan, so deciding that you would rather play against this extremely strong Warrior deck than Demon Hunter with this lineup. Which one of these decks do you think is going to be the best matchup into the Warrior?
Wow, that's tough.
It is, isn't it?
All your Warrior. I don't really know. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that Warrior is the best class in the game in terms of just its overall versatility. That doesn't mean Warrior doesn't have bad matchups. Funny enough, I think some of the weaker classes have better matchups versus Warrior. For example, Paladin seems to actually give Warrior legitimate trouble. But part of the issue is that Paladin loses to everybody else. So it's not good enough for a tournament bring.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be the Warrior deck right off the bat for Monsanto versus Nalguidan's Druid. And so if you're Nalguidan, maybe you expect Monsanto to start with the Warrior. And so maybe you bring your the deck that you think will be the best against that. I don't know if that's the case here. I can think of a lot of ways where Warrior could make Druid's life pretty miserable, but here we are. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it could just come down to the fact that Nalguidan just doesn't want to give an opportunity for Demon Hunter to get like a really easy matchup as well.
Sure.
Because we have seen Nalguidan do this strategy, and the thing is, it worked some of the time. And I feel like if you're going to be coming into Grandmaster, especially for your livelihood in Grandmaster as a career, I don't necessarily want to go with a strategy that works some of the time.
Yeah, if you're in this match right now to begin with, something, objectively has not gone right during the season. And I don't know if it's this in particular not banging the Warrior, but it probably doesn't help.
Yeah, and to his defense, Nalguidan has also seen success with this strategy, but not as much because, of course, his record was only very low. But however, Nalguidan told me he's been practicing a lot. I got a chance to chat with him just a little bit over while he was playing some games, and saying that he doesn't feel he doesn't feel like his lineup is bad. It's just more about thought of him not being able to compete anymore in Grandmasters is what's intimidating. But you gotta say that people who start from the Division A relegation bracket definitely feels a lot better than it does for the people who are waiting on Sunday to play.
Yeah, you've got more chances that way, at least. More chances to stay alive. Because if you win a match, you're back in. It's kind of a reverse, bracket where if you win, you're out, right? If you win, you essentially escape and you're in Grandmasters next season. If you lose, you have to go face the next person, and then the person who loses all the way down the end of the bracket is the one that's out.
Right, exactly.
Sure. So I was wrong earlier when I said one of the players is going to exit Grandmasters. I was a little bit ahead of myself there.
Well, people are going to get relegated, just not today.
Right.
Not tomorrow.
Sunday. Relegation day.
Yeah. Definitely. It's also Championship Sunday.
Right. But it's also relegation day.
But it's also It's also 2 weeks before my mother's birthday.
2 weeks before Frodan's mother's birthday is relegation day.
And Championship Sunday.
Brought to you by Durotan.
Thank you, Durtan.
Bringing it all back around. It's
America's
Zero
largest
Tan can bookend the broadcast. now.
provider for on-the-go spray tans.
That's right.
Anyways,
Popular
focusing
these
on
days.
the Warrior versus Druid start here. Man, I really did not expect to see much Warrior here. I haven't actually gotten too many reps this week on Warrior, but it is my most played class this expansion, and pretty much hasn't really transformed whatever it really wants to do. In this position, I think it's totally valid just to play the Warmaw Challenger, and then you set up for the Inner Rage and the Bloodsworn Mercenary, and just to pressure Druid like crazy.
Yeah, you play it a little bit differently, I suppose, where normally you'd want to be using this stuff to be part of combos that counteract your opponent's early threats, but because the Druid really doesn't have those, you can sort of just put that out there to be an early threat yourself, right? And like you said, Warmaw Challenger with Inner Rage and then copying that with the Mercenary is a really, really scary board for Druid to deal with. That's a lot of HP to cut through. He's going to Inner Rage
Exactly.
the Armor Smith, though. Oh, wow, he's going all out here.
Right. So the
wow.
other alternative, I guess, was this, which is to just aggro with the Armor Smith right now. And I guess the logic is that it kind of puts out a similar damage to what you'd want anyways with
Sure.
the Warmaw Challenger, because it would be 6 attack over the course of 2 minions, but you get this a turn earlier because you can't go for the Rampage and the Bloodsworn Mercenary on 4 anyways.
Yeah, fair enough. But now you can just copy this. This is a terrifying board. Absolutely terrifying board for Nalguidan to deal with.
Yeah, this is.
What do you
really
even
scary.
do? What do you even do if you're the Druid? You can't kill any of this. You can kill a 2/2, I guess, but still.
You find a time machine.
So you go back.
Don't ban the Demon Hunter, ban the Warrior.
Ban Warrior. That's right.
I mean, it looks really silly when it wins like this, but like again, I think there's merit to the strategy that Nalguidan has decided to bring for this weekend. And like Warrior doesn't always draw like this, but it can, and it also draws a decent amount of time like that. And it's kind of like what we're talking about. It only works some of the time.
Yeah, I mean the Warrior has. I think the thing is the Warrior just has so many good draws. You know, there's basically every part of this deck works well with every other part. So it's really difficult, and I think this is what makes the deck, you know, arguably the best deck right now, is that it's really difficult to draw cards that don't work well together with this deck, you know?
That's true.
Which sounds like a no-brainer. It's like, well, yeah, of course all the cards in your deck should work well together. But, you know, that's usually not the case. Usually you have certain sets of cards that combo well together, and you have different sort of like segments of your deck that you're hopefully going to be able to line up. This one, you kind of draw whatever you want, and it works.
Yeah, I definitely have found that to be the case. And I mean, that's just going to be a 2-turn lethal setup here from Monsanto. Does Nalguidan have anything to do? He does have the Overflow ready to go, but
Right.
like there's still 15 power showing.
Yeah. It's a concern. You're a little bit concerned here
Right.
that your opponent will end with more life than they began with.
I don't know if he's in a position to be able to really do anything about it, though. Overflow, what could it pick up? If it pick up double Bog Beam? And...
Yeah, but you're still dead, though, right? 'Cause you can only kill one of the 6/6s.
Right. I'm trying to think what else could he pick up.
Not that. That is not going to help, man. I think that's game.
Yeah, it doesn't look particularly very good in this spot. Looks like Nalguidan was pretty unhappy with how things go. Was that a sequencing thing that we might have missed? Either way, it's looking pretty bad. And I think the heal from the Overflow also just made it harder for him to clear, because I'm realizing that it healed the Armor Smith 7 health.
Right.
So this has been kind of a bad situation for a while.
Yep, certainly has been. Just giving himself as much health as he can, but it's not enough. Yeah, timer runs out. Monsanto taking a sip of hydrating liquid, and that's going to be the end of game number 1. It was very short. It was very sweet for Monsanto, but not so much for Nalguidan. And the Warrior already with a win in the series.
Yeah, and that's it. We only got to see Warrior for a brief flash, but I mean,
You came and
Monsanto
saw
also...
it stopped.
Yeah, exactly. Monsanto also adopted a couple of different strategies where, like, he wasn't bringing Demon Hunter one week, or like maybe he focuses bans elsewhere as well.
Mhm.
And he said this week he's just gonna stop doing that. He said, "I'm gonna stop trying to like do some weird stuff and focus on what I know is good because I think my play and experience difference will actually make that impact to help him stay around." So, both players, talking about how they feel confident going into the relegation stage of this tournament, even though it's definitely a scary place to be given how much work has gotten on both sides here.
Yeah, much more scarier now for Nalguidan that he is down a game in the series. Monsanto still needs wins with Warlock and Rogue. Nalguidan has, arguably classes that can absolutely get wins in terms of Demon Hunter, Druid, as we just saw in his own Warlock. So this match is far from over, but I suppose if you're Nalguidan right now, you kind of have that thought. You're like, did I kind of just give him a free win? Am I just sort of coming into this one win down? And the answer is, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Wow, Nalguidan's so cocky, giving a free win to Monsanto to start things off.
Hey, if he comes back and wins this, he's gonna be like, "Yep, I knew it. I can start one game down. I can just be fine not banning Warrior."
For sure. And I mean, Monsanto also still has some unusual stuff, like in the sense that we haven't seen a lot of Rogue today. Rogue seems to be more of what Europe likes as opposed to America, as well as more of an appearance in APAC. But at the same time, Monsanto is one of the best Rogue players on the planet. He's been always like really good at these kinds of decks. So we'll see how that ends up, panning out when time comes to it. Right now, we're going to go to a matchup we've seen a lot today: Demon Hunter versus the Quest Warlock. Do you have a formulating opinion on how this matchup is supposed to go now? In terms of like, is there one person that you think is like favored? You think it's more even?
I still think it's pretty even, honestly. I think the games, especially today, have been so close between these two decks that it's really hard to call either one with an advantage. Because, sure, you can see the odd game here and there where the Demon Hunter just goes way out ahead and just wins, right? That's always a possibility. But I think we've seen a lot more cases where even if the Demon Hunter gets a strong start, the Warlock is eventually able to kind of like seize the mid game and at least make it close, if not come back and win. So I think it's pretty even. What do you think?
I'm starting to lean towards the Warlock side a little bit more. The more that I start to see how the matches play out, but I think it's probably because I've seen Demon Hunters like mulligan so differently. Like if they're choosing to play more aggressive versus more combo oriented, like or burst oriented. Maybe not necessarily just like comboing stuff when you're playing like 2 cards a turn. But the idea is that they're playing like more of their power cards versus more just curving out and aggroing.
Yeah.
So I think until Demon Hunters have figured out what the ideal way is across the board, because there's definitely some disagreement there, I am going to say that I think the Warlock is climbing up in percentages. Is it favored? I'm not sure, but I'm definitely saying I used to think that this used to be like a really bad matchup for Warlock, and I think it's actually not nearly as bad.
That's where I kind of was a week ago. Maybe 2 weeks ago, where you'd see the Warlock get blown out by the Demon Hunter, but it just seems like Warlocks are getting better, at handling this early stuff.
Right. All right, so with that, now we can kind of center in on the first couple of turns here. Nalguidan setting up his Bone Chewer Brawler. That's definitely a unique tech. You don't actually see Bone Chewer Brawler a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say
these kinds of decks.
That is a unique tech for Nalguidan.
Job's done.
Yeah, I personally think that like Bone Chewer Brawler is like a solid card, but nothing to write home about. It's pretty good against, decks that require a lot of small trading in, and like Rogue, for example, can sometimes have trouble with it because they like to dagger things off.
I struggle to kind of think where you're going to get a lot of situations where the extra attack for the Bone Chewer Brawler is going to come through, consistently. Because if you run into a minion and buff the attack that way, then it's got 2 health. It's probably not going to live through the next turn. You don't really have a lot of ways to damage it yourself. But it's interesting, and I suppose if nothing else, it's simply just a good amount of HP. It's a taunt at the 2 mana slot, so it's not bad.
Yeah, it helps you get the curve. 2 mana seems to be surprisingly like a area of flexibility for a lot of these Demon Hunter decks that like they don't really mind like not having minions to play because they have the ability to hero power, and a lot of their synergy relies upon them being able to attack every turn.
Right.
So it is pretty interesting to see that Nalguidan's like, oh, the thing that this deck needs is proactive 2-drops, when most people are like, I'm just going to take out this other 2-drop and play more 1-drops.
Yeah, it's unique in that many times you'll be playing a 1-drop and just hero powering, or you'll be like, you know, Satyr coin hero power or whatever, but or second slice, you know, doing something crazy like that, right? But I don't mind it. It's interesting. Here's the Overseer. So just trying to put a lot on the board to create reasons for Monsanto to use some of that AoE, and if he doesn't have it, to just take a lot of damage.
I mean, he's taking a lot of damage either way. This this crazed Netherwing. Oh, the mana burn though.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, either way, he's still going to take a lot of damage, and Monsanto still can recover the health through the Nether Breath. So Nalguidan's still in a pretty good spot here, and Warlock looks pretty dead if they aren't able to turn around this board situation soon.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a plot twist, I suppose, so you've got a chance to draw more AoE, but I suppose you probably don't because you've got the crazy Netherwing in hand already.
Right.
Just Nether Breath here, I think, right?
Yes.
Well, he's got the Morg.
If he had
in
the
hand.
Morg and the Rain of Fire first, I think he would have considered playing that, but that also would have activated the Butcher Brawler.
Yeah. Yeah, the real question is, do you save this Nether Breath and use it with the Moarg Artificer? But then are you taking more damage than you're going to be healing? That's the thing. Like, if it's +4 healing you're thinking about, are you going to take 4 or more damage extra by not doing it now?
It's a good question, okay. And I think that in the end, you gotta like figure out what your way of winning is, which is am I supposed to win this game? And it usually involves blowing your opponent out through big swings. And one of the big swings not only is AoE, but also the ability to burst heal. So I think this is good recognition from Monsanto, because I think he's saying, I can't win this game if I Nether Breath right here, when I think most people would have done it by then.
Yeah. A lot of damage still on the board of Nalguidan. He's got 9 on board, 10 plus the hero, if you include his hero power. So he's already very close to finding lethal.
Oh yeah, totally.
Really close, in fact. So, it's kind of do or die for Monsanto. He needs to find a way to clear this board now.
Yeah, he has the clear. He has the clear in the form of the Moarg Artificer, the Rain of Fire, and the Nether Breath. So he's sitting just fine right now.
True. Still very low HP though.
Well, he's gonna go up to 13. It's not the end of the world when your opponent's just down 2 cards. It feels much more manageable.
Yep. He's thinking through this turn. You've got a couple different options here. Because I guess the tricky part, unless I'm missing something, is that if you Moarg Rain of Fire, Nether Breath, one of the 2 3 health minions will still be alive, won't it?
Yes. No. Yeah, you Rain of Fire, and then you Moarg Artificer the 3-1, the 4-1 that survives. Yeah, that's good. But the problem is exactly what you're describing, which is that not everything dies.
Right. Still 4 damage on the board.
Oh my
Metamorphosis.
gosh.
Okay, now you could also Altruist into Chaos Strike and possibly draw into like a Twin Slice to clear the 2/2. Do a good amount of damage that way, but that's very optimistic. That's like
It's pretty optimistic.
That's right. So it's the problem with the last match. That kind of Demon Hunter play rubbed off on me. I'm like, I'm gonna draw the perfect card.
Yeah, this looks good as an opportunity for Nalguidan to press in with the Metamorphosis.
Yeah. I would say so. You get 9 damage down, you bring your opponent down to 3 again.
Yeah, and it would require your opponent can't play Alexstrasza. Your opponent would have to specifically draw like Sense Demons.
Yeah.
This is scary.
You're so close. If you're Nalguidan, you're just crossing your fingers here. And Questing Explorers, that's another draw.
Yeah, but it's just kind of like a do-over, right? Like,
yeah,
he'd much rather just have the card he wants to draw, so to try again.
At least he's got the do-over.
Wow!
He finds a Nether Breath. Wow, that is.
Oh no! Nalguidan knows exactly what that is.
Yep.
And this also means quest completion with Plot Twist.
Yeah, and if he draws any of the Broodmothers, that is going to push Nalguidan farther and farther away from finding lethal. So, doesn't find the Broodmother, but he does complete the quest, which is still very big. Bone Shearer Brawler, not super helpful.
I think Nalguidan's gonna Chaos Strike and then evaluate. What?
Oh.
That's lethal, right? No, he doesn't have mana.
Yeah, he's one. No, he's a little bit more than 1 mana off, I think, right? Because it's 6 plus 5. No, if you had 1 more mana, it would have been lethal. Oh man, that's agonizing. He's right. It would have been 6 from the Adept and the Hero Power. Or not from the hero power, from the attack.
Right.
All right. Bring him down to 3 again.
More introduced with an opportunity to kill, and Monsanto, he's running out of bailouts. He has to hero power into Alexstrasza. Or, of course, just draw the Broodmother. Oh no!
Yeah, that you can see by the expression. He's like, oh.
Can still tap into the Broodmother.
Oh, well, here's where you soulfire your own face. But he doesn't know that Nalguidan has the kill, I suppose.
Right, exactly. He's not sure if Nalguidan has lethal, even though he's like, chances are he does, because Demon Hunter does damage. That's just what the class does.
You know the likelihood of the situation for sure. But still gotta play it out. You never know. We've all had those games where we're like, okay, they've got to have lethal, right? And then they don't, and you win. So you never know. We know that's not the case, so another Chaos Strike seals the deal. Not that it wasn't sealed already. It's just multi-sealed, I guess. And Nalguidan ties up the series with the win with the Demon Hunter.
Yeah, well done by Nalguidan. I mean, then that just to show you the other side where like Warlock had a bunch of heal, had a bunch of AoE, and yet it still wasn't able to stabilize in time because the raw damage put out by the Tempo Demon Hunter. I think a lot of people, when they look at Demon Hunter, they think about specifically this type of pressure where they're like, okay, I have all the heal. Both times, Margaret Artificer got like +8 heal, and yet I still like died very much so.
Yeah.
It's got to be like discouraging as the Warlock player when you feel like you have all of those things. But the reality is, if Demon Hunter gets off to too quick of a start, and the Warlock is a little bit too slow on clearing them, they're just going to constantly be in a threat where they have to play inefficiently, as Monsanto did a few turns, and then eventually something's got to give.
Well, what did we say, you know? What did we say at the beginning of the game? We were like, well, sometimes Demon Hunter just blows out Warlock in this case, where, you know, I think it's closer than maybe people thought before, but Demon Hunter still does have those games.
Exactly. So remaining left here, Nalguidan is tied up with Monsanto. The Demon Hunter gets the win, which I think was like one of his better decks against that. But now we enter the territory where Rogue and Warlock up against Druid and Warlock. And Monsanto's going to go ahead and turn to a Secret Rogue. And I kind of wanted to ask you, you know, I've already said my opinions on Rogue several times throughout the weeks, and it's kind of changed a couple of times. What's your opinion on Rogue right now?
It's still probably the deck I've played the least in the current meta right now, so my opinions probably aren't worth as much as some other commentators. But I think it's one of those decks where you give yourself the reason I like it is because you always give yourself the opportunity to find these kind of unique avenues of play because of all the lackeys, you know? And I think that's what really keeps it relevant, is that you get a little bit of benefit from the secrets, of course. You know, I think that's fine. I think the stealth version is fine too, but what you really kind of get out of this deck is the versatility of the lackeys in terms of handling different board states that your opponent has, but also creating interesting lines of play that can sometimes get you the win where normally you would not get that win. You know, a taunt at the crucial time, 2 damage from a kobold lackey that people are not expecting. This deck is very roguelike in nature in that it's scrappy and it can surprise you, you know?
Oh, totally. And I think that it's one of those things where it can just kind of do a little bit of everything right now. It totally has some burst in it. It's got a lot of card draw. It's got a lot of like ways it can generate resources to win, so it can like kind of play a war of attrition. And also can sometimes just kind of play a tempo game and just like curve out and try to outdo you at what they do best, which is like leveraging a board. So
True.
I think that part of what makes Rogue a pretty solid deck right now is that it's just capable of a wide range of things. Kind of similar to Warrior, but at a lower power level.
Yeah, for sure. Because in Warrior, your lackeys are also like producing bombs and giving you armor and damaging other things all over the place.
True.
Pirates over lackeys.
Well, I mean, looks like Monsanto and Nalguidan are getting ready to go into game number 3. Remember, if you're just tuning in here, this is game 3 of the beginning matches for the relegation bracket. Whoever wins this series will still be a Grandmaster after the season. Whoever loses will go on to play tomorrow's match, where they may also get another chance to stay in Grandmasters or have to keep fighting for their lives.
Right. So here we go. Pretty heavy hand. Drawn by Monsanto initially. We'll see what he mulligans into. Nalguidan throwing everything out but the quest. What do you keep if you're Monsanto here? Do you keep the Edwin?
When I'm on the coin as Rogue, I always keep it.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, okay, I wouldn't say always. I would say like 99% of the time.
Sure.
Because I'm sure there's like exceptions to the cause. But, you know, I think when you have an early Van Cleef, you should definitely consider keeping it. The other thing that might be worth thinking about is whether or not he wants to keep Galakron, and just hold on to that, so that way he has a form of card draw, especially if he goes all in with Van Cleef. He has like a secondary option to generate resources.
Right. A lot of times, Galakron ends up being, you know, just gain 5 armor, draw 1 or 2 cards, and then give yourself the opportunity to find those lackeys, I suppose, too.
Right.
What's he going to keep, though? Okay, yeah. Keeps does not keep Van Cleef, but he does keep Galakron and the Shield of Galakron. Interesting.
So Galakron and Shield of Galakron makes sense. Wow, he chose to throw away Van Cleef as well. So yeah, I mean, he is rewarded with the Spy Missions on 1.
Always feels good. And just a tap from Nalguidan, not much else to do. So the play over to Monsanto. At least you're going to have that turn 4 Shield of Galakron a lot of times. I guess you probably just play the secret here. But do you attack? Is there a reason not to attack?
To attack with a 3/1. You don't really hold many like stealth synergy. But at the same time, yeah, it's like, what is this 3/1 trying to actually do? It's most likely just trying to deal 3 damage. There's no like 2/3 you want to kill or anything you're trying to get. You're not trying to like get ahead with tempo stuff. But the one thing that you have to keep in mind is that you want to also disrupt your opponent's best plays. And next turn, if his opponent had Mortal Coil, you'll be able to tap and coil for 1. Very upsetting.
I suppose, but that minion's always going to have 1 health. You know, the Mortal Coil opportunity, or the Mortal Coil option, is never going to be an impossibility for your opponent.
Yeah, it is interesting that It does seem like, you know, if Monsanto had a Van Cleef opportunity, he'd be able to go for one, but
Sure.
he'd also be giving up his coin. Nalguidan's like, thank you for damaging yourself.
Yeah, helps a lot, you know? Not a lot of healing in that rogue deck. Every point of damage hurts.
Exactly. Thank you for lowering yourself closer to Malygos Burst.
Exactly. Because I was wondering, well, maybe you just attack and then you sealed fate your minion to deny the Mortal Coil.
Yes, there you go.
Next level play right there.
That is next level for sure.
Oh, yeah. Ha. Checkmate.
I mean, it is curious, right? Like, if you're not going to attack, when are you going to? I guess he still has another turn to hold because there's still no threat of the Crazed Netherwing next turn.
I guess, but... I mean, your opponent's not going to Dark Skies it, but you could just Rain of Fire. Maybe just Rain of Fire here, you know?
Rain of Fire is like... Yeah, you know, the thing about Rain of Fire, what it might allow you to do is tap next turn.
Yeah.
I'm open to it. I don't think it was like the first instinct that I had because it seemed like your opponent was saving stuff, but I was open to the idea because if you Rain of Fire, you still have hand space, and you don't even have a turn 5 you're going to play next turn anyways. Sure. I guess maybe in his mind he wanted to just keep his options open.
Right. And with all the lackeys hitting the board at some point, Rain of Fire does get pretty valuable later on in this matchup. Right. So there's definitely a reason. Swamp Ooze is the draw. Got to use something here. Now the Rain of Fire comes out. So now you're kind of like... Alright, I get to get more value because now you can Nether Breath. Finish off the Shield of Galakron.
Job done.
So that works out pretty smoothly.
Yep. Nether Breath and he just heals up. And so kind of back to a reset here. And we're going to see several of them throughout the matchup here because the problem with Rogue is that Rogue has kind of taken out a lot of the burst from their possibility now that Leroy is rotated out with Hall of Fame. So instead, what they try to do is just fight with like amazing amount of waves of tempo.
Yeah.
And so if you generate waves of threats, eventually your opponent should run out of removal. Except the Warlock deck is so removal heavy that it's one of the few classes that can keep up.
Very true. I still miss Leroy, by the way. I know it was the right. I know it was the right decision. That doesn't change my feelings. My feelings are different than my brain, Frodan.
I would certainly hope so. Leroy's a fun card. I mean, it's definitely like one of those cards where I think in a couple of years people will be like, "Oh, I wish it was back." It's like when people are like, "Oh, you know, I wish like Azure Drake and all something back." Hey,
this just opens up more possibilities for them to create adventures around Leroy, where we eventually find out he's a dragon. You never know.
I'm sure we can retcon something to make
do that
a reality.
Yeah. He was a dragon all along. That's why, in the original video, he didn't want to kill any of the dragon whelps.
Oh, got it.
That's right.
He was a sleeper agent.
He felt a kinship. That's right. Who's on a full dagger? I mean, the dagger just never gets used in this matchup by Rogue anyway, so it's not a huge deal most of the time. But it's a 3-2 on the board for Nalguidan. What's the play here for Monsanto? Maybe go for Evil Miscreant?
I wonder.
Like Pharaoh Cat, Evil Miscreant, something like that, maybe?
It's tough. It's very open. If you play your secret, it's the only secret that you have before Blackjack Stunner, so it feels like you can't necessarily part ways with it easily.
Sure.
But I mean, it is also.
He's got the Kobold Lackey too.
So turn 7 is kind of awkward. I feel like I would be okay with setting up Questing Adventurer 2, but I do think that Evil Miscreant does set up pretty good plays as well, because you can still Questing Adventurer on the following turn. The only problem is that if you start playing the Questing Adventure stuff from turn 8 onwards, you open up another possibility of your opponent clearing the board, which is Twisting Thunder.
Yeah, I suppose that possibility will be there. I kind of just like putting this out because you're not dedicating a whole lot, but you're putting something on the board. Oh my gosh! What?
Holy cow! Oh
Witchy
my goodness,
Lackey.
those Dormu
Crazy.
makes an appearance there. And I think Nalguidan just has to use Keladon in that situation.
Yeah, I guess so. You got to get rid of it, right? But my goodness,
I mean, we were talking about setting up a threat and how it's awkward on turn 7. I didn't have this in mind.
He certainly set up a threat. Both players did not get their 10 mana crystals, though. Man. Well, yeah, you have to Keldon, right? He's looking for maybe a Nether Breath so he can Moarg into it, but he finds a second Moarg. Tap?
I think we just kill it. I think you just kill it.
Oh, okay.
You tap for the Nether Breath. Again, it's pretty optimistic. And I think you got to go for the guarantee here.
Otherwise, you'd have to like Moarg Soulfire.
Right, and I don't think that's ideal because you need a lot of these cards here.
Would not be good. So, Monsanto, maybe a Questing Adventurer play this turn? Still too early for Galakron, probably.
So I think I like Questing Adventure here. Monsanto saw one big single target removal in the form of Keladon. So you could play Questing Adventure, Kobold, Lackey, and then that gives you enough mana to play...
Choose soon.
No, it's not that great.
Yeah.
It gives you the ability to play Secret and Blackjack Stunner, and there's not too much that you would want to use there.
Blackjack Stunner, your own Witchy Lackey, maybe? Give me another...
I mean, maybe.
Give me another 8/8.
Yeah. I guess the Blackjack Stunner here doesn't have to come out. I really do want to set up the Questing Adventure, though, just to present threat.
Sure.
I just didn't know how to fill out the rest of the mana curve neatly.
It's just not a very big Questing Adventure. That's a problem. It's too easily removed, and you can see that, you know, Crazed Netherdrake Mortal Coil removes this board. Looks like a different plan in mind, though, for Nalguidan.
Yeah, he could just Mortal Coil first, draw, and then see what happens, but...
So you hurt your own Morg this way.
Yeah, I am curious about that.
Trying to think of a reason.
He's testing for ambush. He's testing for ambush.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
He's just specifically seeing if it is ambush, but he sees that it's 30 secrets, and that does allow Monsanto to draw.
Gets a Kronks out of that too, which is pretty good. Monsanto.
So many options.
I wonder if I'm Monsanto, I actually want to use the Flick Sky Shiv here. Killing off another Crazed Netherwing might make it so that your future boards are better. And then you can dagger down to 2/1.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Monsanto goes for it. So that's going to protect his boards in future turns, ideally.
Right. I think this is a good opportunity to also consider playing another secret. In this case... Well, ambush is to challenge the 9-mana minion. So if your opponent plays Alexstrasza or Dragon Queen Alexstrasza and has some capacity to like summon it, it can challenge that.
Right.
The alternative is just simply to dagger this Moarg Artificer down.
Yeah, goes for the secret. Decides to leave up the Moarg Artificer. Since Demons is the draw... So what secret is it? Nalguidan wonders. You can probably ascertain that ambush is a little bit more likely.
Yeah, so I think this ambush makes sense too, because I think one of Nalguidan's best plays, because it is very early for Dragon Queen, is a Abyssal Summoner. So with Mortal Coil already used, and a bunch of other high impact spells, it'll make it harder for Nalguidan to deal with that.
Yeah.
So if you're Nalguidan and you play a Special Summoner and you see an ambush, you are really sad.
Are you more sad than if you play an Alexstrasza and you see an ambush?
Yes.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
Sadness on the way for Nalguidan. Ambush comes
Maybe he's
out.
just gonna ignore it now and just hero power.
Why not? Yeah.
Sorry, attack, and then hope that he can use his hero power to draw cards that will end the game.
I suppose it's possible, but it seems like it'll be a little while. But again, there's not really any healing for this rogue deck, so you know you're gonna gain the 5 armor off of Galakron at some point, but pretty much the health you lose is gonna stay lost for the duration of the game.
Still Crocs. Crocs could still heal you.
Crocs can. Do you find yourself using Crocs to heal very often?
No, and that's usually a losing position. But
Me
it's
too.
totally possible, and might even just be something that Monsanto has to explore as a possibility here.
True. Got to get the Galakron out first. Could do that this turn.
Yeah, this seems to me like either a 2-minion setup, a Shielded Galakron and Bone Wraith, or he plays Galakron because he recognizes that he has an opportunity to get that Kronks out. Ooh,
Yeah.
Seems like instead he's going to just focus on the Invocation.
Wow, finds a Titanic Lackey with the first one, and another one as well, so nice to grab some of the taunts, I suppose.
I mean, Titanic Lackey isn't the biggest of deals, but it's good enough for Monsanto. Now Nalguidan. What does he have in store?
Well, Dragon Queen Alexstrasza is active if he wants to head in that direction. Probably not this turn. Or maybe I spoke too soon. Looks like he's going for it. Alright, not the greatest dragons. You've got a lot of health on that Twilight Drake, but he's gonna wait and see what he draws. Soulfire. A second Soulfire is actually pretty big.
Yeah, and good sequencing for Nalguidan to get an extra card in hand so that he can get an extra health on his Twilight Drake.
Yep. So he's got a bigger range that he can kill from if he draws the Malagos with 2 Soulfires, providing he doesn't use one to discard the other. He's actually just going to use one right now.
Okay, loses Plot Twist, which
Yeah.
I can't tell if that's good or not because I don't remember exactly where his quest progress is. But now it's Galakron time, and Monsanto has the Kronks in hand. This is an opportunity for Rogue to get really far ahead.
Well, it's a fully invoked Galakron too, which is something that you actually don't see as often anymore. Oh no. All right. Oh, not the greatest pulls as far as the discounts go.
Pretty much just hoping for Heist Baron Dogwoggle. Everything
Yeah.
else was about expected. He can go ahead and play this Hanar and the Dirty Secrets and Blackjack Stunner. Doesn't feel great to Blackjack Stunner some big dragons, but you might need to.
Well, you can make the Twilight Drake a little bit smaller, I suppose.
Right, you definitely don't want to Blackjack Stunner the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.
Or the Cobalt Spellkin either, honestly. Don't want to give him any more spells.
Ooh,
interesting.
counter spell. That's huge.
Yeah,
Oh, he's gonna
it
go
could be.
for it. Wow.
Oh, what? Dude. I guess, you know, it does. I mean, usually Dragon Queen Alexstrasza requires your entire turn, but you know, now it really does.
Yeah, Monsanto really just thrown everything at his opponent. Kind of took a little bit long on his turn. Almost burned it down to the final second. Still not done with the quest here.
No Twisting Nether either.
No Twisting Nether.
Yep. Because that counter spell has not been played yet by Monsanto, so it would still go off.
Does Dark Skies clear most things?
Dark Skies would be doing 9, I guess.
So if he kills off this 4/7, there'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus 6 is 15.
I mean, he would eliminate a lot of the damage at least.
Right. Especially if he can pick off like that Spy Mistress.
Right.
The problem that weapon still exists though.
Of course it's the right way.
It is a little bit awkward. He's going to go ahead and play the Questing Explorer, try to draw the Twisting Nether. Doesn't find
Okay.
it. Plot twist, though. So,
Plot
plot
twist
twist
is
into
interesting.
Keldon, maybe?
Yeah, Keladin would be a big draw. And also hero power in the worst case scenario, Twisting Nether. Oh gosh, he's taking so long.
Yeah. A little bit of healing. He's attacking. I feel like Dark Skies is probably going to be the play here. Or no, maybe he can actually get a lot done with Rain of Fire, too.
Oh boy, not
out
the
of
time to
time.
be roping out and making mistakes like this. If it ends up being the case.
Ooh, that's rough. Okay, he got...
Dark
okay.
Skies. Oh, did he not tap? He got the hero power off.
He did, but he didn't kill Hanar. And that means that Monsanto can theoretically chain into more secrets here, which I don't know how strong that really is, but it is available at least.
Yeah, also a question worth is how much damage can Monsanto do here? Oh, he's got actually a really interesting play. He can play Prongs and then Blackjack Stunner Prongs. Wait. He's so close to lethal.
Yeah. 7 on board. Plays the counter spell. See what he gets.
Ooh.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Redemption.
Cheap secrets is fine.
Yeah.
I actually do like this redemption.
Go again.
I think I like any just cheaper secrets that can help really influence this.
Right. So it can just be a crazy secret turn. Stunner, Bone Wraith. That's where he's going to leave it, secret-wise.
This is smart. He's gonna make a sticky board, so any minion that survives will get buffed by Kronks.
Yep.
And Nalguidan has Malagos plus Soulfire. That's 9.
Yeah, so without that armor, he'd be really close already. As is, he needs, what, 8 more from something? Trying to discover a lackey, maybe? See what he discovers from his hero power. Ooh, free Zephyrus.
Oh,
What do you get? Guess you'd be able to find another Twisting Nether, but I don't know.
it might offer you Secret Destruction. It might offer you Cabal Shadow Priest. I think Nalguidan's trying to trigger the secrets first, so this would... The Sinister Deal is trying to stop the counterspell.
If you have 8 mana remaining, I feel like you always see Tyrion Fordring too. But yeah, he is just gonna make the counterspell go off.
Yeah, this looks to me like you want to consider playing the Zephyrs for the Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah. Grabbing that Bone Wraith would be pretty strong.
But holding the Zephyrs also means that you can potentially hold lethal. He's gonna go for the Bloodseer Corsair instead.
Yep.
Oh
no! He didn't get it played!
Oh,
Oh, Nalguidan 2 turns in a row. Struggling with the rope.
oh, that's it, right? That's just game.
I think it may be, yeah, Kronk should be able to buff everything up enough, right? Yeah. Oh, that feels so bad.
Not what
5
you want to
damage
be
on the
seeing
weapon.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would not have been lethal if he would have gotten the Bloodsail Corsair off, and that means it's a victory for Monsanto.
Oh boy, big mental damage being done here.
No kidding.
Yeah, there's not really much to say other than that's really unfortunate. Really, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the end, it's like now you're down and players who struggle with that kind of stuff. I mean, they really only got themselves to blame. They got to play faster. There's no other way to say it. You got to be able to be quicker. And I understand thinking through turns and being very diligent is important, but like, can't just wait for the last seconds to queue up, especially if you understand that like there's a possibility that you might miss it.
Right.
But yeah.
When you come down to these situations when you know your grandmaster's life is semi on the line, no one's getting eliminated here, but you can win yourself the chance to at least survive to the next season. I can't imagine the pressure, you know, and so it looks like unfortunately for Nalguidan, kind of getting to him a little bit here. And now Monsanto only needing a win with the Warlock to guarantee himself a spot in Grandmasters next season. Big game for Monsanto here.
That's right. Monsanto just has to win with his own Warlock, and he's going up against either Nalguidan's Warlock or Druid. And either way, these are some matchups that can explode and also be very, very quiet in the beginning.
Right. Just like a firework. Although they aren't that quiet when they're flying up into the air, I guess. Depends on the firework.
Yes.
Pick your explosive. I don't know.
With that, Nalguidan probably just taking a second to breathe and like reset, because that's obviously, like we said, big mental damage. Warlock mirrors, of course, can go 50-50, but he still has the Druid versus the Warlock, which seems good on paper.
Mm-hmm. Sure enough, and that's what we're going to get. Monsanto's Warlock versus Nalguidan's Druid. Nalguidan not opting for any sort of dragon package. Pretty much par for the course as far as the Druid goes from what I can see. Looking at the list right now.
All right, so here we go. Potentially the last game of this series.
True enough, if Monsanto can get the win with that Quest Warlock, he can escape the relegation bracket and get himself another season of Grandmasters.
Yes, so the last opportunity here for Nalguidan to potentially stay alive in this series. Otherwise, he is going to play tomorrow to have a chance to stay in Grandmasters. Monsanto's going to go ahead and mulligan, keep the Crazed Netherwing because he wants to be able to answer the Lo-Fi Swarm.
Yep, has that Dragon Queen Alexstrasza in the hand as well, so you don't need to necessarily worry about not being able to activate the Netherwing. Unless you plot twist. Don't find it. Emerald Explorer is a draw now, Nalguidan. Of course, just dropping the Fungal Fortunes. Alright. Pretty decent cards, but he is kind of lacking in the ramp this game a little bit, isn't he?
He's lacking in the ramp, but it's because he's playing a more minion-heavy version, so he has less like cheap spells and more big power cards to play. I would even entertain the idea of Power of the Wild just as a minion here. But if you're Monsanto, you got to be happy to see that. No Wild Growth, no Breath of Dreams.
Right. Only one Wild Growth in the deck of Nalguidan. Does have 2 Overgrowth, but he hasn't drawn any of them yet. Back over to Monsanto, though. And yeah, able to just use the Sense Demons on turn 3, which is what a lot of Quest Warlock players like to do. Yep. But if you do that, you'll be full up, so you got to spend something, right? Maybe not.
Yeah.
No,
Sense Demons is the best thing to play on 3
for
Quest Warlock. There's usually not much to beat. Of course, the exception might be that you have to answer what's on board. But just look at the elation on Monsanto's face. Sees Nalguidan has nothing 3 turns in a row.
Right, no ramp, no threats. It's got to be frustrating, and Nalguidan just looks frustrated right now. And remember, if he loses today, he can still come back and try again tomorrow and the next day, even if it comes to it. But you don't want to be in that situation. You want to end it here. You want to guarantee yourself that next season of Grandmasters right now.
Right. Also, I'm debating if he wants to keep the coin for this plot twist. Honestly, the game's going well enough. Maybe you can go ahead and throw it in for the extra card and greed a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like you're in a position where you can be a bit more aggressive with that.
But at the same time, it might be important to hold as well, because you have the Crazed Netherwing, and you need to stop the Glowfly Swarm from running you over, if that ends up being the case.
Sure, that's true. Yeah, going right into the Glowfly Swarm turn, and naturally this is the play from Nalguidan. But oh man, he's gonna be so mad. Oh, both Netherwings in there.
I mean, he kind of knew that there's a possibility. Both players are drawing a ton of cards.
Doesn't make it feel any better, Frodan.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good at all when you see your board clear. But now you can kind of just play these Emerald Explorers It's a little bit awkward because they do put a card in your hand.
Yeah, they do, but then at least they put a 4/6 or a 4/8 rather taunt on the board. Oh, Mal'Ganis. Evasive Draconid is a strong play as well. Just in terms of annoying things for the Warlock to deal with.
I'm actually thinking if that's one of the best things you can get off of the Dragon Discover outside of just like Ysera Unleashed and you have the mana to play it.
Sure.
How curious.
What do you think, though, about Mal'Ganis and... Mal'Ganis, I did it again. Malygos. And going for the kind of old school Druid plays where you would go Malygos, Moonfire.
Oh, interesting. That's definitely something worth evaluating.
Fairy Dragon.
That was the card I was expecting the least, but I think
Yeah.
Nalguidan says that his hand feels really heavy, so he doesn't want to pick up too many more expensive cards.
I mean, I can see that. It is still something that'll require some AoE spells to get rid of, I guess. And I mean, you're probably, even if you grab the Malygos, you're probably not going to be able to save the Moonfire because you want to use it with an exotic Mount Seller turn.
Right.
Ooh, and there goes another Moonfire anyway.
All right, here we go. How good is this exotic Mount Seller going to be?
Yeah, this is the turn, isn't it? This is, you have to do it, right? Well, I mean, there's a 9/9 on the other side, though, but you're kind of committed.
It's because if you don't do it, you're going to fall too far behind on the tempo,
Right.
and your opponent's going to start just playing Warlock with minions on the board, and then they get to hit you for ungodly amounts of damage.
Yep. Brings it into the range where he can finish off the 9/9 with the Emerald Explorer.
Ironbark will allow him to actually punch through this 9/9 and keep his Emerald Explorer on the board.
Yep. That is true. Oh man. Two Iron Decals.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that hurts a bit. The Panther is not the best either because the health is so low. Morag Rain of Fire deals with all of the minions except for the Mount Seller.
There's several ways you could do this. You could play Craze Netherwing number 2 and clear that way.
Yep.
That gives you freedom to even play Plot Twist after that. Another alternative you can do is exactly what you said, Morag Artificer plus the Rain of Fire, and that gives you the most mana flexibility, so you could like tap and then play some stuff.
Could Nether Breath the Mount Seller as well in that case. The Craze Netherwing play seems to be the smoothest, probably.
Right. I particularly like the fact that we can do this afterwards and have that 5/5 on the board.
Yeah. Wait to attack until he sees what Plot Twist gives him. That's probably a good idea.
This is bad here for Nalguidan. He's looking pretty stressed, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I think his next card has to be something really impactful.
What even is impactful right now? Like, probably not Ironbark. I mean, you can Emerald Explorer, but...
Let's get a 9-man dragon.
Ooh.
Ysera Unleashed.
That
There you
is
go.
what he was looking for. Yeah.
But there is one caveat to that.
What's that?
Nalguidan doesn't have card draw. And now Ysera Unleashed needs to have card draw to back her up. Otherwise, you may never see a Dragon Portal.
True. I guess you've got Wrath, but that's only going to draw you one.
Right. I guess, I mean, Cycle. Card draw is in the form for them like Overflow and Rising Winds.
Right. So, back over to Monsanto now. One away from finishing his quest, as we can see.
One away. If he taps, he has it. But then, like, what does he do afterwards? I guess Morg, Artificer plus Rain of Fire. Does he also have his duplicates all removed? If so, he could just play Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. But his hesitation is telling me that he doesn't have it active.
I don't think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I look at his deck list too. There are a couple cards still redundant in his deck right now. Most notably that I think the RNSC Broodmother hasn't been played yet. Oh my goodness! Hempo Malagos.
Whoa. Well, I mean, yeah, what's
Wow.
Nalguidan gonna do?
He's making a read saying, I don't want you to play your 9-mana dragon.
Yeah.
He's saying, I think that you picked up a really expensive dragon, you snap picked it.
That's a really great read from Monsanto to try to punish this.
Right.
And it's working. It's gonna.
Predictions.
But I mean, yeah, there is that one side of things where it's like we know that he doesn't have a lot of card draw for the Azera Unleashed, but there are a number of other strong 9-mana dragons that Monsanto is trying to avoid as well.
Yeah, basically he wants Nalguidan to sink resources into this, and Nalguidan should. He has Wrath, Crystal Power, Savage Roar. You could choose any one of these assortment of cards to try and take down that dragon.
Right.
Bog Beam.
Bog Beam? Okay.
It's nice.
Yeah, it helps.
Sands of time run low.
So he should have the clear on
Right.
Malagos. Does indeed. Yep.
Well, what this does is it forces Wrath to be used for 3 damage instead of actually drawing cards.
Yeah. Which makes the Azera Unleashed even less impactful.
Right. And so Monsanto's going to go for the full control plan. He's saying, I'm not going to try to burst you down. I'm going to use my cards to slowly whittle you down in resources.
The quest is now done, so Monsanto, even though he doesn't have that option to go for the big spell damage burst kills anymore, is going to be able to pick up a lot of other cheap stuff.
Jeez.
Like a cheap
He's got
Broodmother.
2 or 6 taunts right now coming out.
Yep. That should be probably the plan. And I think, are both Dark Skies still in his deck right now?
I mean, he's got a couple of duplicates in his deck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that right now Monsanto isn't close to activating it. I think he needs
Right.
2 cards at least. But I am not married to the idea.
Debating on if he wants a Soulfire, and that Soulfire is suddenly less important to keep now that the Malagos is gone.
Right. He could actually develop a bunch of tempo there that way if he plays
Yeah.
Soulfire and the 2 taunts.
Yeah, very true. I like that, actually. I think that's probably what you need to do, right? You already saw one Glowfly Swarm, you already saw Mount Sellers, so you know Nalguidan is starting to get hurt a little bit in terms of his ability to build a board and contest you.
Yeah, the only caveat is you still know there's like a impending big dragon coming.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We know it's not the biggest of big dragons just because of the nature of the cards Nalguidan has access to right now.
Yeah, but it's the one dragon Monsanto doesn't want to see, I think.
It is a
Even-
dragon that can
Contradiction.
make some crazy turnarounds happen in the game.
Definitely. It's never over till it's over with Ysera Unleashed.
Right. I like the heal here on the Emerald Explorer just to keep it out of range of the other one, of the other Broodmother rather. And there it is. Dream Portal's in the deck. And can Nalguidan turn this one around? I guess the other big thing to think about is that there's still the Twisting Nether for Monsanto. He still doesn't have access to Dragon Queen Alexstrasza either.
Well, Dark Sky is being drawn.
Right.
So there's too much health right now just from that, but maybe the Warg Artificer can help out in this position.
I wonder if...
Yeah, would you maybe run the Broodmother into the 6/8 and then go for Morag Dark Skies? Or double Morag Dark... You know what I'm talking about, Moarg. Can you do it with one or do you need both? You could probably do it with one, right?
If you, I mean, it's just a math problem. There's 8 Moarg Artificer cards with, there's 8 Dark Skies activations, so it looked like it'd come up short.
Just a math program. Or problem, rather. I can't even say problem correctly. That's where,
Math program.
that's where I'm at on
Oh
math.
my goodness.
Oh,
Off the top, finds the overflow. Now,
yeah.
Monsanto's going to hope that Nalguidan actually draws like all his portals here.
Yeah. True.
draws 2. If I'm Nalguidan, do I go for another?
I mean, how else do you win this game, right?
Well, this is still kind of threatening, and you have 16 power on board. Savage Roar is another 10, so if you deal 4 damage, you get the lethal next turn.
You will
You actually
do
don't
4
have to
damage?
add to this board.
Sands of time run low.
All right.
There's also the Innervate Soul.
Yeah. I don't mind that either. Excess mana. And yeah, just saves up for as much draw as he can manage next turn.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Okay, so does Monsanto use Twisting Nether here?
Or do you go Moarg, Moarg,
I
Dark
wonder
Skies?
if-
Every hit will be doing 4. Right? Is it doubles and then doubles? Or is it
Well-
cumulative like that?
Oh my
Oh.
goodness gracious.
Wow, never mind.
That's huge.
Yeah, easy choice now.
Right. So that way, well, he doesn't have enough mana to spend after that. That's like the really annoying thing here. Is it actually better just to play Twisting Nether in this position?
I mean, Keldan only kills 1 if you don't do it this turn. I mean, it's a bummer to pay full price for Twisting Nether, but you don't use your turn doing that. But I think this is a play, because, you know, you get 5 worth of damage on the board, you make your opponent use more of their draw. You know you can handle more Dream Portals this way.
Right.
I like it.
Okay. Yeah, it's not ideal, but sometimes you got to go for it.
Yeah.
Because you need to establish some
Ooh.
kind of board tempo. You can't just like pass and not really do anything else. Now Nalguidan picks up Glowfly Swarm after he's already seen Dark Skies being used to make it tempting.
Right.
It would summon 6 Glowflies. Pretty reasonable, and then he gets to play Soul of the Forest afterwards.
Yeah, that seems
How
strong.
Curious.
You know, does he have a second Savage Roar? No, he only runs 1 in this deck, so it'd still be tough to kill, wouldn't it?
Oh my god, another Zeraku. Oh, and he gets to attack the minion and he gets to summon a 6/6. That's so sick.
Sands of time
Yeah.
run low.
Seems fortuitous.
Oh, is he not gonna go for that? I guess he doesn't have removal options, so he's just gonna go ahead and Soul the Forest instead.
I mean, arguably the safer play, right? It's more resilient to things like Twisting Nether.
It is, although Monsanto does have the Morg Artificer
Oh, you're
plus
right.
the Rain of Fire.
That wouldn't clear everything, I guess, but
Clears off
Would-
most things.
yes.
So Morg plus the Rain of Fire, then you double trade, and then you Rain of Fire again. That
Sure.
gives you 4 mana left. There's not much to do there.
Hmm.
Also, another thing to consider is that Monsanto's running out of cards himself.
Yeah,
in
you
terms
know-
of the cards left to draw.
I go back to that. My mind goes back to that Malagos play earlier from Monsanto.
Yeah, for sure.
And-
it seemed risky.
Yeah, you wonder if maybe this is going to turn into a situation where you really wish you still had Malagos available. Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, and with the second Rain of Fire used, he doesn't establish himself any board presence. He's
Right.
basically just hoping that his his dragons from Dragon Tree and Alexstrasza will outlast. Skeletal
Ooh.
Dragon, Ysera unleashed the natural one from his deck. I mean, Nalguidan can just continue to load it. The thing is, there's a chance that he just gets almost all of his Dragon Portals in one turn and he overdraws it.
Yeah, that's the risk.
How curious.
Your alternatives are what? Maybe Overflow? Just to draw the rest of the first set of portals out? He's going to go with the Azera, though.
It's. I think it has to be Ysera Unleashed this turn because the earlier you play it, the less likely it is that they chain. Oh my gosh, evasive dragon.
Yep.
Here we go. Finally, the ability from Monsanto, if he wants to play his Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, but he draws his other Alexstrasza naturally as well. I think it's time to go.
Yep. Time to make some moves. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza may or may not hit the board. There we go. And what's it going to be?
Murazan. Oh my god. You get to play the same thing. You get to play your own Ysera.
Yeah, I was going to say. That seems pretty good.
That's just a big minion to deal with.
Yep. And Nosdormu as well.
Yeah, you don't get the battle cry, which
No.
is unfortunate.
You do get another 412.
This has escalated very quickly.
Yes, it has. Nalguidan does not have the cards to deal with this. Innervate. All right. Let's see what the Dream Portals can bring.
It feels risky to go for Overflow. Oh, wow.
So many contradictions.
If you don't,
Yeah.
You know Twisting Nether is out there yet.
Well, the thing is, you could double trade and then Overflow. You could, because both of your dragons will survive the attack onto an 8/8.
True.
You could also, did you say Overgrowth? Overgrowth is definitely a possibility here. I think Fungal Fortunes also makes sense to me.
I feel like you need to do a little bit of drawing because you need to. I guess his win condition is trying to set up a board that sticks and then Savage Roar, right?
Right.
So.
Interesting. Oh, it's because he wants to guarantee the board space to play this taunt minion. Like, he could have gone for the draw first, but
Sure.
he knows there's a likelihood that he hits the Dragon Chain.
Whoa.
Whoa. Some huge minions coming in here.
Yeah.
However,
Oh no.
Monsanto, does he have lethal here? Oh my gosh, he has to have lethal here, right? This is like, I mean, yes, very much so. The Zephyrs is guaranteed now, and Monsanto should close this series out because this Zephyrs is be able to guarantee that he gets past these taunts.
Yep. That is correct.
And
We'll be
that should
fine.
do it.
Mass Dispel should do it. And Monsanto is going to be in Grandmasters next season.
And, you know, as much as it's sad to, you know, see Nalguidan continue to lose here because I do wish him well, it only feels right that Monsanto gets to come back for another season. He's still one of the highest performing GMs, still one of the most technically skilled players in Hearthstone. And it's kind of a travesty to see him relegated, but at the same time, you can say that about anybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Grandmasters is called Grandmasters for a reason. Everyone who makes it is one of the best Hearthstone players in the world, you know, and somebody's going to get relegated. 3 people, in fact, have to get relegated. But, you know, that certainly doesn't mean that they're bad Hearthstone players. And Nalguidan has a chance tomorrow, and if it comes to it, has a chance on Sunday as well. So it's not the end of the road just yet, but the road is getting shorter for Nalguidan. He moves on in the relegation bracket, and Monsanto escapes another season.
That's right. So Nalguidan is going to play tomorrow versus ETC, and the loser of that match will play purple for one last chance. And from there, the loser of that match will get relegated. I mean, that's just going to be the end of their Grandmaster career for now, unless they were able to requalify through matches.
Yep, that is correct. Wow, exciting day of matches, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very long day, but you know, this is where the rubber meets the road for a lot of these players, right? It comes down to who's able to qualify for playoffs and who's able to, you know, or who's not able to withstand the pressure of the relegation bracket. But at the end of it, we're only 1/3 of the way through because we have 2 more days of gameplay tomorrow and Sunday.
I love it. When the rubber meets the road, make sure Durotan is protecting your tires.
That's right. That's right. As well as protecting your cell phone coverage is T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network. Big shout out to them one last time.
Smooth.
But though, any final thoughts here to wrap up day number 1 of playoff week?
Yeah, I think the big story for day number 1 is Demon Hunter versus Quest Warlock is maybe more of a nuanced matchup than originally anticipated. So looking forward to seeing more of that later in the weekend. Aside from that, just a fun set of games. I'm honored and privileged to be able to be here and fill in for TJ this weekend. Hopefully doing him proud. Know he's a proud dad again, and not of me. He's not, my dad. He's a dad of a new child, is what I'm saying. But hopefully he thinks my casting is okay too. Not my outros. Forget those.
Sounds good. There's no better way to finish off that broadcast. Well said, Noah.
Exactly.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Make sure to catch the VODs here at youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell button so that way you can get notifications on when the stream is live tomorrow and Sunday. And also, if you want to check out the deck list, the standings, schedule, format, and everything about Hearthstone Grandmasters, go to playhearthstone.com/esports. So that's it from Frodo Andoa and TJ Sanders and everybody else part of the Hearthstone Grandmasters program. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more Hearthstone Act.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.